I met Cilvaringz really back, I think in 1997, if I'm correct, at a show in Amsterdam. Met him, he was brought on stage, you know what I mean? We were doing, we had a freestyle part in our concert. He was one of the guys that came up. They had kind of style, I heard him, you know what I mean? He had more flow than a lot of guys that was getting on stage, you know what I'm saying? And plus, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of them niggas was like all black niggas just trying to be like us and shit. He came in on some Clark Kent shit, you know what I mean? And I was like, I just noticed him, but I didn't know who he was or whatever and shit, you know what I mean? But when I finally met him, it came because he sent like a lot of letters, you know what I'm saying, towards me, you know what I mean? And like he had his, he sent letters with typed up lyrics, song ideas and things of that nature, more like in a very, very organized way and shit. And I was like, oh shit, this kid is organized with his shit, you know what I mean? But I never got a chance to meet him because he just kept coming to New York and he'd meet with my sister, or my people in my office, even my mom's at one point, you know what I mean? And they kind of kept, influenced me like, yo, you should meet this guy. This young guy is very dedicated. He came way over from Europe. I mean, on the first trip, I didn't see him. Then the second trip, still didn't catch up with him. Not even the third trip. It wasn't until I don't know if it was the third or the fourth trip that I finally met him. It might have been the third trip when I met him, like, and hooked up and kicked it with him. And I gave him an assignment. I told him just walk through the city, yo, and feel the vibe and just write, you know what I mean? Then let me see what you come back with, you know what I mean? But I guess he had school or whatever, and he disappeared and shit. And he didn't come back until, I guess, the following year or whatever, or something. And but that's basically how we met, you know what I mean? Like Cilvaringz was very persistent about, you know what I mean, connecting, you know what I mean? And I always say that persistence overcomes resistance, you know? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like if you really want something and you visualize it in your mind can make it come to flesh. And being a part of Wu-Tang was something that was in his heart deep, you know what I mean? And he strived, he traveled, you know what I mean, to do that, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's like that, you never know where a disciple is gonna come from, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's not even your duty to decipher who is your disciple, who's not your disciple. Because some things are delivered to you, and sometimes you'll deliver it to others, you know what I mean? And I always think like that, you know what I mean? So the time I got to hook up with Cilvaringz and them was when I came back to France one time, and I invited them to come. We had Wu International at that time, and I invited them to come to the Wu Villa that was in France. And when they came through, you know what I mean, instead of just making songs or whatever, I constantly was building with them. You know what I mean? I'm that kind of person. I like to build with people so they could really understand the mind frame we're dealing in. It ain't all about the money, the fame, and the music. That's just one aspect of life, you know what I mean? It's like I'm in a certain mind frame, and so therefore to represent what we stand for, your mind gotta be in sync with our minds, you know what I mean? So I basically try to pour my mind out so they could at least be able to understand where niggas coming from, so if they represent it, they're gonna represent it in the proper way and not an improper way. And I think that, he absorbed it, you know what I mean? And from that point on, from that day to this day, I found a dramatic change in them in the sense of they stayed dedicated to their schoolwork, you know what I mean? They took up music classes and stayed dedicated to music work. Took up business classes and learned the business of music. And learned many things and shit, you know what I'm saying? But that's, a little, summary of our connection and shit from the beginning phase, you know what I mean? Many people that would love to be under the Wu umbrella, and a lot of people would be like, yo, Wu just catch Cilvaringz. A lot of the other killer bees even had envy and jealousy towards him and shit because it seemed like I was giving them some kind of special attention or special opportunity, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I was, and really, it really comes from and stems from his dedication. You know what I mean? Only if somebody dedicated to you can you dedicate yourself back to them. There's many shall come and few shall be chosen. There could be many people amongst you that say they down with you, you know what I mean? But most people are friends at your table. I mean, if you put a big banquet out and you invite people to come to eat, everybody gonna come to eat, you know what I mean? But it's gonna be a few people that come that bring another dish to the table, regardless of the banquet. They're gonna come and be like, yo, I brought more bread, I brought more wine. I mean, it's like that. So what you bringing to the table is more important than what you taking from the table, you know what I mean? And I took that as Rings, you know what I'm saying, Moon God and the whole crew really was bringing something to the table. You know what I mean? It wasn't just always coming asking for shit, you know what I mean? They wasn't really asking for nothing, really, but to make music and shit. But also their manners and their demeanor about them, you know what I'm saying? And their heart to want to help anything that was related to me, you know what I mean? I remember that my family came over to Amsterdam and they took their time out and showed them around, you know what I mean? You know, it's like they put a helping hand out towards things, you know what I mean? And it's like you rather see that because most people come to take from your table. You know, so this tour that we're doing right now is another example of them trying to give back to the table. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you want to put some money on the table. You know what I mean? Help the clan grow instead of just adding on to the clan and helping it sink, helping the boat sink. You know what I mean? And so, you know, so that ability was showed to me, and I seen that potential in them early anyway, just from their dedication to what they were trying to do. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So that made it different, and I'm quite sure there's still many people out there that come in and will do the same thing. You know what I mean? But you may have one thing and lack another, or may lack another. You got to have a whole package. You got to have talent. You got to have ambition. You can have your own original ideas. You know what I mean? Because I don't want a bunch of clones coming amongst me trying to act and be like me. That's not gonna do nothing for me or yourself. You gotta be willing to come in, add on. Add on means to build. You know what I'm saying? Even though each brick in the building stands for itself and it completes the building. You know what I mean? And you gotta be willing to be that brick. You know what I mean? I'm saying, you know, Rings got good stage appearance, you know what I mean? Got a good voice, his voice cuts across the beat. You know what I mean? I'm saying his lyrics, his lyrics are strong to the degree of like, he's not saying the same thing everybody else is saying, you know what I mean? He's adding what his heart is adding to it, you know what I mean? You can tell from his song like Fuck America with all that, he's not afraid to speak what's on his mind, whether I agree with it or not. That's another thing. When he first did that song, he told me about it, I was like, yo, you saying Fuck America, but shit, in all reality, you got on American clothes, yo, you know what I mean? Shit, you speaking English saying that shit, and that's an American language. But I understand the concept of what you're dealing with. If you really feel like that, speak with your mind and shit, you know what I mean? But don't let your mind get the best of your body if your body ain't prepared to back up your mind, you know what I mean? So a man can easily say, let's go to war, but then when war comes, you gotta be prepared to defend yourself, you know what I mean? But he still speak his heart on it, you know what I mean? So that shows that he ain't trying to be no puppet either. To the degree, like I'm saying, yo, I mean, if I ain't agreeing with it, that don't mean that he ain't gonna still speak his heart in his mind. So therefore, he's gonna hold himself accountable for what he do. You know what I mean? And that's something that an artist gotta do. Really, any artist, you gotta stand up for what you believe in. You know what I mean? Regardless of your label, sometimes regardless of your own classmates. You know what I mean? You gotta stand up because sometimes your voice is not only your voice, it becomes the voice of God. You know what I mean? So, but I think he got the talent to succeed definitely because what he got something that I had in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? Which was I've been had MC skills, you know what I mean? And been had musical skills, you know what I mean? But business skills what was lacking. When I got my business skills together and applied that with my ambition, I changed the whole game with my shit, you know what I mean? So he got that same potential. They went to school for music, they went to school for business, they've been involved with hip hop for many years. I'm saying they got Wu-Tang training personally in hip hop. They got a chance to be amongst the Abbott and some of the great Wu-Tang students, you know what I mean? And so, really, you shouldn't lose, can't lose, you know what I mean? If you lose, it wasn't meant to be. It's like that. Maybe it's meant to be some kind of politician, you know what I mean? Oh, remember he basically jacked that song, you know what I mean? He basically jacked it from Rings in all reality. He spoke to me about it, and I told him, I said, yo, speak to Rings, and said, that's his song. I did that verse, he asked me for that verse. I voted and I gave it to him, you know what I mean? And I think that verse I gave him, I voted from my heart based on the subject we were dealing with. We were dealing with the beef between the Arabs and the Jews. You know what I mean? Everybody supposed to be, if you look at the song is kind of ironic and it kind of also shows you who sometimes is the oppressor in it because you got the Arab, you got the Jew, then you got me coming in as a mediator, you know what I mean? And I'm telling these two men that, yo, look, ever since Abraham, you had Ishmael and Isaac. It was 12 tribes from Ishmael, 12 tribes from Isaac. Isaac had Jacob, he brought the 12 tribes. Ishmael brought his 12 tribes. These same 12 tribes been arguing over that piece of land that Abraham had for over 4,000 years or more, yo. You know what I mean? They've been beefing. But Abraham gave it to all his sons, you know what I mean? It's enough land for everybody, yo. But their own greed. Now, they do the song, to why we're gonna make peace out of it, and yeah, here come the Jewish guy, he steals the song. You know what I mean? And Remedy stole it straight up. And he even told me he gonna jack it. Cause he said he gonna jack it because he thinks Cilvaringz can't beat him up. You know what I mean? So he felt like he could beat him up and shit. So I'm telling Remedy like, yo, you can do what you wanna do, yo. I said, but if son try to sue you, I mean, then he said, I ain't worried about that. I was like, yo, personally, I don't care what y'all do with the song. If you look at it, I'm the mediator. You know what I mean? I said the right thing to do is, of course, to go to a homie and talk to him and get his permission for the song. That's the right thing to do. You could take my advice or you could leave my advice. You know what I'm saying? And I left it up to him. And he did what they probably be doing over there in Palestine, and they get ready to make the fucking peace treaty, and then them niggas pull another trick. Because that shows something right there. It shows something about character. You know what I mean? And Remedy, when you ever hear this, or you ever go back and reflect on it, look at the character you show, you know what I mean? And then look at your people and see if that same characteristic is a natural thing inborn in your people. And that's why you can't find peace, because you don't have no inner peace, yo. The difference between Wu-Tang Clan and Wu-Tang Killer Bees is Wu-Tang Clan is considered the first non-born, you know what I mean? Or the core 9 members, who is Method Man, Ol'Dirty Bastard, Inspector Deck, Dugard, Ghostface Killer, the RZA, Master Killer, the RZA, and Raekwon the Chef. You know what I mean? So Wu-Tang Clan is like the 8 points of the sun. I'm like the 7 in the center when you see me wearing my flag. I don't got it on right now, but that's what that represents. Wu-Tang Killer Bees are those who are influenced or affiliated with Wu-Tang Clan in one way or another, either by being a student, either by being some kind of family member that has a bond and is working for the same cause as Wu-Tang, or either being somebody that's business involved with Wu-Tang in one form or another. So for instance, Wu-Tang Killer Bees would be subsidiary groups like Killer Army, Sons of Men, Royal Fam, Cilvaringz. It's many, I can't name them all, you know what I mean? But those are Killer Bees. Well, he got an album featuring a lot of Wu Killer Bees on it, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I think we're gonna do another song, so I will be on his album. Then he got Master Killer on his album, Killer Army. I mean, he produced already a track for Ghostface Killer, you know what I mean? He's rising up in ranks, you know what I mean? Rising up with his talent. All you gotta do is keep pushing. But more than anything, you know what I mean? He's on this continent, the European continent. And you know, he's the first one on this continent that's been accepted, you know what I mean? Like that's been at the 36 chambers, in the 36 chambers, hanging in the 36 chambers, meeting the members, breaking bread with the members, talking to the members, relating to the members. So he got a great opportunity that no other person on this continent really got, you know what I mean? A dream for some people, you know what I mean? So all you gotta do is take it to the maximum and live it out. The possibilities is endless. It's on him now, though. You gotta just become a passing fad that was a Wu-Tang fan or a Wu-Tang member and turned around to be something else later on in life, or you could take it to the level, like I took it to the level in the United States, you know what I mean?